Tom Bauer has just revealed a jaw-dropping detail about Lilibet that seems to clash with everything the public was told back in 2021. And for the first time, the conversation isn't just about family drama or stylish outfits. This time, it's about something far harder to brush aside: official government records. Every baby born in the United States is assigned a digital identifier by the government. It's a long sequence of numbers printed on a birth certificate, and those numbers aren't random at all. They actually tell a story. The first 3 digits are known as an area code, and they indicate the state where the baby was born. For decades, babies born in California have been assigned the code 104. That's just how it's always worked. So when the birth certificate for Lilibet Diana appeared in the media, sharp-eyed observers noticed something that didn't quite add up. The code wasn't 104, it was 105. According to the official US Birth Records Handbook, 105 is assigned to Colorado, and that's where things start to get interesting. The public was told that Lilibet was born at Santa Barbara Cottage Hospital in California, but if the document really carries a 105 code, the paperwork seems to be pointing far away, straight toward the Rocky Mountains. Was it just a clerical error, or could this number be the first real hint that the official version of events isn't the full picture? Numbers don't take sides, and they don't tell lies. And right now, the numbers appear to be pointing to Colorado. Normally, when someone shares a story, you can verify it. If a child is born in a specific county, there should be a public record confirming it. Yet according to multiple sources, when researchers tried to locate the official California registration for Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor, they came up empty-handed. One investigator even spent 25 minutes on a recorded phone call with the California Vital Records Office, simply asking for proof that the birth occurred where it was said to have happened. What came back was a document called a Certificate of No Public Record, or CNP. Let that sink in for a moment. In an age where nearly every move made by the royal family is closely followed, the state of California was essentially saying, "We have no record of this." If there's no public birth record under that name, it raises an unsettling question. Whose birth certificate was actually shown in the media? Was it authentic, or was it merely a stand-in meant to quiet curiosity? Every mystery seems to have someone who knows more than they're saying. In this case, that person may be Dr. Melissa Drake. She was the well-known Santa Barbara physician credited with delivering Lilibet. Beloved by patients and respected in the community, she had a reputation as a standout obstetrician. But then something unexpected happened. Just as questions about the birth certificate began gaining traction, Dr. Drake abruptly announced she was shutting down her practice. Her patients were given just 10 days' notice, something almost unheard of in the medical world. Expectant mothers were left scrambling, confused about why their trusted doctor was disappearing so suddenly. Dr. Drake explained that she needed to focus on her health. However, some believe there may be more behind the timing. Her husband reportedly runs a high-end fertility clinic, and insiders suggest the overlap isn't accidental. Did she witness something she couldn't talk about? Or was the pressure of being tied to such a high-profile birth simply too much to carry? Controversial birth becoming too much to manage? When the lead doctor suddenly disappears, it doesn't neatly close the chapter. It makes you want to flip the page even faster. To understand why all these names and birth certificate numbers matter, we have to look at the rule book of royalty. In the United Kingdom, there's a very strict law governing anyone who wants a place in the line of succession, the list of people who could one day wear the crown. It's known as the Born of the Body clause. It may sound like something from a fairy tale, but it's a serious legal requirement. For a child to be recognised as a prince or princess and remain in the line of succession, they must be naturally conceived and physically delivered by their mother. This is why the palace traditionally displays a gold easel bearing a signed notice from doctors, confirming that the rule was followed. But in the cases of Archie and Lilibet, that familiar proof never appeared. If a surrogate was used, or if the birth didn't happen exactly as described, those children could legally be removed from the line of succession, permanently. This wouldn't just be a private family matter, it would be a constitutional issue with the potential to shake the foundations of the British monarchy. To see where the panic around Lilibet may have begun, we have to rewind to the birth of Archie. The story Harry and Meghan shared sounded almost cinematic. They claimed that after not one but 2 epidurals, procedures that typically leave patients unable to walk for hours, Meghan gave birth in a bathtub and was back home at Frogmore Cottage within 2 hours. Any mother will tell you that would be nothing short of a medical miracle. According to sources, when questions were raised in the UK Parliament about whether Archie was even born at the Portland hospital, officials sidestepped the issue, saying they weren't the hospital and didn't hold the records. Adding to the confusion, Harry once mentioned in an interview how much babies change in 2 weeks, at a time when Archie was supposedly only 2 days old. It left many wondering whether Archie was already 2 weeks old when the public first met him. If the timeline surrounding the first birth raised eyebrows, the timeline for the second, Lilibet, starts to look less like coincidence and more like a pattern. And in any investigation, patterns are what lead you closer to the truth. There's also a curious detail on the document shared publicly. Prince Harry's name doesn't simply appear as Harry. Instead, it's listed with Duke of Sussex as a first name and His Royal Highness as a last name. To most people, this may look like a proud nod to his royal status. But to a legal expert in California, it signals a serious problem. California has very strict rules about how names must be recorded on official documents, and this kind of formatting raises major legal red flags about what's actually allowed on a birth certificate. While parents can choose almost any name for a child, official government titles are off limits. You can't legally list someone as judge or governor on a birth record. Those titles simply aren't permitted, so when His Royal Highness appears as part of a name, it creates a serious problem. Under California law, that kind of entry wouldn't be valid. Allegedly, this means the certificate shown to the public may not be a true legal document at all, but more of a ceremonial display, a prop. And if the legitimate record doesn't include those titles, why show the world one that does? It suggests that image and status may have mattered more than following the law. At this point, you might be wondering why this isn't headline news everywhere. If the numbers don't line up and the titles don't follow the rules, why isn't every major outlet talking about it? That's where the story takes an even deeper turn. Sources claim the mainstream media prefers to focus on the glossy parts, the fashion, the drama, the Hollywood lifestyle, while sidestepping the uncomfortable details. There's a growing belief that major news organizations are locked in a quiet agreement. Acknowledging serious flaws in the birth records would also mean admitting they failed to question the story for years. It's far easier to speculate about party invitations than to investigate a potential constitutional crisis. But while traditional media stays quiet, public chatter is growing louder. Cracks are forming in the wall of silence, and once it gives way, everything may spill out at once. That brings us back to the mysterious number 105. If California is code 104 and Colorado is 105, the question becomes, why Colorado? The state is known for having some of the most private and surrogate-friendly laws in the country. Allegedly, if a child were born via surrogacy there, records could be sealed tightly. Suddenly, several puzzling details seem to connect. The 105 code, the long phone call to California that led nowhere, and the abrupt disappearance of a doctor whose husband runs a fertility clinic. If this is the truth Tom Bauer is preparing to reveal, it changes everything. Remember the born of the body rule? If the Colorado link is real, it would mean the children were never eligible for the line of succession at all. The 105 code wouldn't be a typo. It would be a trail leading straight to a truth that was never meant to be uncovered. Now let's turn to a name many people haven't heard in years. Rachel Engelson. Meghan's first name is Rachel, but why would she still be connected to her first husband's surname long after their divorce? Buried in official palace records is an eyebrow-raising detail. When preparations were underway for the 2018 royal wedding, Meghan's identity had to be formally verified for the Church of England. The records didn't simply list her as Meghan Markle. Instead, they reportedly read, Rachel Meghan Engelson, née Markle. That's a striking detail because it suggests her legal identity may still have been tied to her past as she prepared to walk down the aisle and become a duchess. It's a classic red flag. Why was that name still present? Was there a delay in updating documents, or was her legal status more complicated than the public ever knew? It's a small detail, but one that hints at a much larger web of unanswered questions. As we move into the coming months of 2026, the atmosphere feels charged with anticipation. What we may be witnessing isn't just anxiety over bad press, but fear of an unstoppable truth. A birth certificate is more than a piece of paper. It's a promise of honesty between a royal family and the public. And the structure built on miracle timelines, missing records, vanished doctors, and mountain state codes is starting to wobble. Tom Bower's forthcoming revelations may be the final stress test. Imagine the moment the world realizes the 105 code was never an error. It was a clue. Titles could disappear, history books might need rewriting, and the Sussex brand could be exposed as something carefully constructed rather than fully authentic. The world is holding its breath. The records are missing. The doctors aren't talking, but the numbers don't lie. They already told their story. The reckoning has arrived, and when it does, the truth about Lilibet won't just make headlines, it will change everything.